bubbly and beautiful host, Elizabeth. It's the Caffeinated Cooper Show. Yeah, I believe in you. Don't believe in lucky sevens. I'm not sure about my next.
Thank you so much to my friend Justin Peters.
I believe in happiness.
Justin Peters is out of a wonderful, wonderful studio in Nashville, which is Platinum Planet Records. I am so happy to be one of his BMI registered writers. And that was Tracy Ferrara, my great friend, beautiful actress, man, blonde bombshell from England. Like, oh my gosh, the legs, the hair, the accent, everything to die for. She was the voiceover artist in that. So thank you guys so much for my beautiful intro. I'm excited to be using it again because here we are, interview night. Some of the best stuff ever. But before we begin, I would like to shout out to my sponsor, Viter Energy Mints. Viter Energy Mints, if you're unfamiliar with these guys, you have got to get familiar with them. Each mint, and I'm going to show you how big they are because they are not very big, but they have a big punch to them. See that? 40 milligrams of caffeine. You can see no colors, no dyes, no artificial flavors. It is full of B vitamins, B6, B12, boosts energy, freshens breath, and they come in wonderful flavors. Let me find the camera there. We've done this once or twice before, Elizabeth. They have chocolate mint, cinnamon, peppermint, wintergreen, spearmint, and best ever, no added junk in it. You can go get it at GoViter.com. You can also find it on Amazon for all of us Amazon addicts. I am. So tonight I have a wonderful guest. He has been on the show before. He is a friend of the Caffeinated Cooper Show, but he is back to talk about a new endeavor in life. And no further ado, let's bring up wonderful voiceover artist, beautiful radio voice. This guy just has the voice gifted by God comes out of him. Like it's gorgeous. Don Hoeksema, how are you? Oh, we have one more second. Here he is.
Hello, Liz, and welcome. Thank you, and thanks for everybody to tune in to Cooper Show tonight. And Liz, it's great to be here with you again tonight. And once again, thank you for that great intro. My name is Don Hoeksema, and I'm from Orlando, Florida, what I also like to call Vacation Town, USA. And I also go, if you go to my website, I'm also known in the number of different radio shows as the Voice of Thunder. So that's been what I've been coined with some years ago. And thanks to one of the shows that I've been on was the Marky Marcano show. I've been affiliated with him for about 8 years, and he uses some of my voiceover introductions to his show, and he coined me that. But at least about 8 years ago, and that name has stuck with me ever since. And but it has gone very well with me. Just lately, why I'm on here is. For the interview is because we started a brand new radio show out here on Radio Omega 100.1. Go ahead,
Before
Liz.
we get too far into that, Don, refresh my memory. Let me rephrase this question. What has been the most interesting gig you've had, both either film and television and or radio?
I think the most interesting gig that I had was there was Spanish TV here. Now, here in the state of Florida, there's a very large Spanish community, and I've been involved with radio here. A lot of the radio here is mixed with English and Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And with the one podcast that I was affiliated with for quite some time, with the Marky Marcano show, he was getting more popular every year. And then it got to the point where we were on, we had a special on TV, and the TV show on Telemundo was called Forza Latina. And so we had a special guest appearance on Forza Latina on Telemundo. And then he was getting a regular spot on Telemundo television with Forza Latina. And I was, for a while, I had not every week, but I was periodically guest appearances on the TV show Forza Latina. Now, one of the disadvantages I have here is that I don't speak Spanish, all except the few words to get by. So I don't.
That was my question.
And as hard as I try to get some quick lessons, you get enough by to get dangerous. So if one of the lines I use a lot is no español. Okay, so basically I don't speak Spanish, and usually if I say that, then that helps the other person realize, oh, okay, not a problem. Then they'll say to me, depending on the individual, no, speak English, and then we're at loggerheads. So, but it's a very large Spanish community, but they're very good to me, and they do a lot of translations for me. They mix up the English with the Spanish. With the show that I'm now affiliated with now, called The Fuse, is I would say 95% English, but because my co-hosts are both Spanish speaking, one is Colombian, and the other one is Puerto Rican, and but they're both Spanish.
So let's talk a little bit about the show. The show debuted in the beginning of May 2021. Is that correct?
Yes. So we've had a couple of shows now so far. We've had the viewership has been fair. But when you're starting off a new show, people tune in and listen, and then the following week it gets a little bigger. So as time goes on, the viewership increases. And because we're dealing with internet radio, is what we have right now with you, Liz. We have Facebook Live, in this case, Be Live TV. So when we're on the air with Radio Mega 100.1, we're also on Facebook Live. And then eventually we'll also be broadcasting on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. One of the things with streaming, it allows so many options out there. So we have a pretty good audience here in Florida that comes anywhere from in our state, about Orlando, Florida, goes right down south to about St. Petersburg. So the viewership can be anywhere between 50 to 100,000 per any given night. And then with internet radio, that could be, you can stream and perhaps get about close to 500,000 people streaming. And so that's one great advantage of internet radio. And you got, and it's not only got to sound good, you got to look good too. And so you want to make sure that you dress up and make sure that you look the part as well. So it's a little bit different than just speaking on a mic and behind a radio station. You can dress the way however you want and to feel comfortable. But now,
absolutely,
it's a little different now.
We have your poster up here that everybody's taking a look at the moment, which is Igniting Your Night, Saturday at 7 p.m. That is Eastern Time on Radio Omega 100.1. And it is the three of you. So we have Stefano Padro on the left. We have you, Don Hoeksema, in the middle. And then we have Liz Menezes. I hope I said that right.
You said that perfectly, yes.
And let's talk a little bit about the other hosts that you have, and possibly what is the show like? If we were to tune in, what type of topics are you talking about? Is it genre specific?
No, it's in fact at some nights it can be just like the show that we have now here, Liz. Liz Menezes, also by the first name, is same as you, lives in New York. And Stefano Padro used to live in New York, but now he's made his home in Puerto Rico. and
Mm.
we're all streamed live at the same time.
Okay.
And because we're all on the East Coast, it's all the same time. I think Stefano would be the only odd one out in regards of with the time change. I don't think Puerto Rico changes their time, and but they both bring their unique talents. Both Liz and Stefano are accomplished singers. You can download their music, um,
Mhm.
and they're great co-hosts. Um, we worked together once before on a previous podcast, and
Oh.
that's how we hooked up with this show. Now they left about a year or so before I left the podcast, and 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 it's been about a few years since I hooked up with them, and they've originally reached out to myself, and and to talk about a particular venture that they were thinking about. And when we got together, so we were trying to come up with the name of the show. We came up with all sorts of names at first, and we liked the Fuse because when we're saying igniting your night with the Fuse, and the show is entertainment. Well, we have music. We'll have special guests, like we'll have perhaps indie artists that would come on to promote their music. We'll have guests, like say for that perhaps are in sports or comedians. And the nights that we don't have special guests, well, we'll have a whole bunch of segments, different segments on the show. Since Stefano is into fashion, we bring that into the show. We'll have comedy segments in the show as well that we have fun with. So it's a variety show of all sorts of types of entertainment, and which
That
is
is so interesting.
yeah, which is great, and it is, and we keep it down to an hour, and every Saturday night. And of course, the station manager has been really good. And so, if it really takes off, we could expand the show into additional nights. But like any other show starting off, we're trying. Of course, you have to get your legs into the show, and
Yes.
and get the synergy together with the three of us. And so at the beginning, even though that it's only a 1 hour show, there's a lot of prep work into that very first show. What we're going to do, what we're going to talk about, what is the content going to be like when we have guests on the show. What guests do we want on the show? And so there's a lot of thought that gets put into there. Since I bring
What would,
yeah.
if I can interrupt for just a moment, what would be the guest that you would absolutely love to have on the show, or possibly you have one booked and coming up that you would like to talk about?
That I would like that if I
That
had
you would love.
if I had my druthers. Well, I'm a big fan of a comedian who's been out in Vegas. His name is Gordy Brown. He's one of my favorite stand-ups, and I've been friends on Facebook with him for some time. When I went to Vegas. I got to see his show, and if
Mhm.
and one of the things I like about Gordy Brown, just from a regular, simple stand-up comedian, which he is excellent stand-up comedian, but he also does imitations in regards to singing as well. So the combination of singing and stand-up is is rare. And so
Mhm.
he's the full package. So if I had a wish list, that would be one of them. And if I had another one, it would be James Arnold Taylor. And
Oh,
James Arnold Taylor is the first voice actor that I've met, and he's the reason why I got into the voiceover business is because James Arnold Taylor. It was
wow.
about a decade or so ago when I was at Disney World, and somebody overheard me. They said, "Hey, you got a nice set of pipes on you. Have you ever thought about doing voiceover?" And this guy had a show in the back. I said, "Why don't you go see the show?" Okay, I'll go see the show. And then this little guy came out. His name was introduced himself as James Arnold Taylor. He did about 200 voice imitations in 5 minutes. And I didn't realize this. I didn't never heard of the name, but this guy is a superstar. Have you ever heard of any of the cartoon, like say Star Wars cartoons, like Obi-Wan
Sure.
Kenobi? He does the voiceover.
Yeah.
He does the voiceover cartoons of Spider-Man. He does the Fred Flintstone and the Little Wheaties commercials and Fox Domination on tonight on Fox, and he does that. All these voiceovers that I thought I've heard this voice, but you never know who does it. And so a lot of I thought, whatever, and I just gravitated to this art. When I saw this, it was like it was calling me. I thought, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And ever since I went to get a voice coach and I started training, and I've been doing it ever since. And I started to get gigs. I started get called on for the radio. People started to get to know my voice and the talent. I started traveling over to different venues in the U.S. doing live announcing of very large events. Unfortunately, when COVID came, that killed that particular part of the business. And because I traveled to places like Atlanta, and I was stayed up at the CNN Omni Center, if you know where that is, and right across the street
Yes.
there was these big convention centers where tens of thousands of people were being held. Also here in Orlando at the Walt Disney Theater, or what they call the Dr. Phillips Center Performing Arts, which is my favorite arena to do, because the acoustics there are just great. Plus, you meet the most talented special guests coming on that particular stage, and also in the Carolinas, where I've been, and of course a large number of venues right here in Florida. Now I got my first potential one coming up this fall, so I thought, oh, maybe COVID has an end, and
It
because
does. So many people are booking right now. There are
it
so many different films, television, all types of things. What do you have going on in the fall?
and well, it's for a school, and so and for different schools, they have to have all the teachers together because teachers have to have by law a certain amount of hours dedicated to learning. And
Mm.
so they congregate the students, or not the students, the teachers, into one big hall here at the Rosen Center at here in Orlando on International Drive. For those who have been to Orlando, Florida, International Drive is just a sea of hotels, a sea of restaurants, and also many things to do. We have the Orlando Eye, museums, and so on. And of course, there's comedy theater there for like the Whodunit, which I've done about 4 months worth of comedy theater, and it was just a hoot to be involved with that. So and Florida has been very good to me since I moved down here, and just over 10 years ago with the amount of different opportunities that came my way. So very thankful for the people that I've met, the contacts that I came in contact with to give me fantastic opportunities, being on various number of radio stations, traveling across different venues from the U.S. And Liz, I got to meet yourself one time
Yes,
from a potential movie that never really got off the ground. But it's the type of industry that those things happen. That
it was very unfortunate. The creator became very, very ill right after
Yes,
we wrapped our bit of filming. But it was lovely to be able to meet you and make that connection. There were so many different people that were booked for that particular film that were just magnanimous talent. I mean, Clint Eastwood's daughter was our makeup artist. So
yes, I had an interesting
awesome.
story. I had an interesting story with that because I met Kimber. That was
Yes.
Kimber Eastwood,
Hmm.
and the funny story. I met with Kimber, and I said, "Kimber Eastwood, okay, like your father would be Clint Eastwood." I said, "That's right, okay."
Yeah.
And she asked me, well, she says, with your voice, I says, I'm always very quiet, and I like to speak louder. And I says, well, there are some particular vocal exercises that you can do if you speak and practice from the diaphragm. So we both went into the vocal booth together, and I thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. I got Clint Eastwood's daughter all by myself in a vocal booth, and well, she found it very difficult to do the diaphragmatic breathing. And I says, well, it's probably easier if you lie flat on the floor. So there she went. She went flat on the floor, and with her tummy going up and down. And I says, yes, if you practice that, every day, like say in a bit of in the morning and the evening, and if you keep practicing that, you'll have a lot better. You have a lot better air, and you'll be able to project more with your voice.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice going home. I says, hey, guess what? I just taught Clint Eastwood's daughter voiceover lessons. And I thought, hey, well, that's bragging rights, isn't it? And but I remember her. She was very nice, and I met her.
Yeah.
Her I think it was her husband or
Her
brother.
husband. He was a riot. What a great sense of humor.
Yeah, it was great to meet that couple. And there was a number of actors and there that were doing movies out there in Atlanta that were extras, such as the Hunger Games and a few other big movies. They said that they served in as well. So it's one thing with this industry, you get to meet a lot of interesting people, for any advice is to make those connections, and because those contacts can prove very valuable later in this type of industry.
They really can. That you are not the only connection from that one particular castmate situation. Cody Cowell, who was the lead actor for the film. I played his wife, but I was not the lead in the film. And he is nominated for several awards in a film that he just completed in Los Angeles.
Oh,
so
has he?
It's wonderful how those paths crossed, because at the time that I had moved to Los Angeles, it was after you and I met in Florida to film the film that we were working on. And so I pulled on that resource and I said, hey, Cody, I'm coming to Los Angeles. What can you suggest? I'm not from there. I don't know where to move. I don't know what to look at. And he sent me in the absolutely best direction ever, because he lives in just one of these spots in the world that is the most beautiful, I would say, of all of California. So
yes.
It was very, very nice to make those connections, and we're such a great network with each other. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is Liz Menezes.
Liz Menezes, yes.
I'm struggling. We're sort of, there's another pronunciation that sounds very much like it, and we've just been drummed into our brain because that one particular gentleman is also a music artist. So I want to, my brain wants to go there with it, but she's over here. So anyway,
yeah, certainly. Okay.
She has a beautiful voice.
Yes, she does.
And she is one of your fellow hosts for the radio show.
Yes.
I would love to be able to show a little bit of her music video she did from the Mamas and the Papas, California Dreamin'.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Do you mind if we show a little bit of one of her?
No, let's do it. She'll be thrilled.
Okay, great. So she appears with you for the radio show The Fuse on Saturday night at 7 p.m.
Yes.
And here she is. Give me just a moment to bring it to screen. And let's spotlight her. All right. Here is Liz Menezes.
All the music and the sky is green, and the sky is green. I've been for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. Something to check. I passed along the way, when I got down on my knees and I pretend to pray. You know the preacher like a cold He knows I'm gonna stay. California dreaming on such a winter's day.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
That was the
Was
marvelous
that,
voice of Liz Menezes. Yes.
was that also her in the music video?
You know, that I don't know. That I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no to that. 'Cause I
Oh
don't.
my goodness. Doesn't she have such a refreshing voice? I mean, you can tell she has that Latin tone to her voice, but so crisp and clean. My goodness.
Yes, and Stefano Padro, you can also look for his music down on BMI Records. It's also available for download. Liz Menezes, you can also look for her music as well. And on the Fuse, of course, they have a platform to play their music, and we do take advantage of that for Liz and also as well as Stefano. So um, I think you'll really like the show with the dynamics between the three of us, the talent from Stefano and Liz. There, I mean, it's a great trio, and we do have a lot of fun on the show. We're just like I said, we're getting our sea legs because it's been a number of years since we were all together. But it's coming together really well. We've had our first special guest um, last Saturday on the show. It was just a fantastic guest. It went so well, we had to invite her back for a second one. Her name was Jessica Carlo, and she was a marketing manager, a PR specialist. She was a model, actress, radio host, and she had an amazing story. She started in Puerto Rico, moved to Florida, and there was a reason behind that because the Puerto Rico didn't have the resources that she needed.
Oh, well, it looks like we lost Don for a moment. I'm sure he'll pop back into the show in just a moment. So, if you're looking for a little something to watch on your Saturday evening, The Fuse, which is live on air every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Here we go. Here is Don back to the show. 3, 2, 1. Here he comes on.
There we
And so,
go.
we were just talking about the show to listen to something educational, spicy, fashion, music. You guys hit it all on Saturday night on Radio Omega 100.1.
Yes, and of course we got all sorts of different little segments as well to enjoy, not just special guests, but one of the things that we talk about is we'll have loopy breaks. We'll have I do also some voice impersonations as well that I try to get a little bit here, like Rod Serling, like there's a fifth dimension, which is also known to man as a dimension as vast as space and timeless as infinity, and what we like to call the burning question of the week. And so we'll have a burning question of the week. For instance, Liz, what's a holiday that doesn't exist, but in your world, it does?
What's a holiday that doesn't exist, but in my world, it does?
Exactly. So, and then so if you want to think about that, and then
I
we can have a
will. I'll
little,
have to think about that.
we'll have to think about that. Okay.
Uh, Caffeine Worship Day.
Caffeine word. Okay. What, okay, we got the caffeinated Cooper show and you got the little cup of Joe right there. Is that all part of that?
It is all part of it. We had these wonderful tumblers made in the beginning of the year. So
Mm-hmm.
a couple of our Monday night regulars. There's 3 different gentlemen. We do 3 different segments that reoccur each Monday, and we all have our tumblers. So at some point, they will either be guest gifts
Mm-hmm.
or they'll be up for sale. I'm not sure which, but more than
Okay.
likely they'll probably be guest gifts.
Actually, I kind of like that holiday. I think I would celebrate that pretty well every day. And and for being a coffee lover of myself, like I stick to one good cup of Joe every day, and you can't beat that first thing in the morning. I don't know why any other cup after that doesn't taste quite as good, but that first one, man, that is just heaven.
It is. It is. Well, I want to wish you a lot of luck and success with the Fuse. I am so glad that you had a moment to spend some time with me to tell me a little bit about it, to tell us and spotlight your other hosts, as it is a trio of wonderful different personalities on the Fuse on Radio Omega 100.1 every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern. So, do you know who you have coming on this Saturday?
Well, there's a possibility that we could have Jessica Carlo once again coming back on the Fuse. We had a marvelous interview with her the first time, and that had to deal a lot with her daughter, who is deaf. And when she came to Florida, some of the struggles that she had to go through. And so we went through almost a whole segment just talking about that. It was very informative and educational for anybody who tuned in, who have similar issues or know somebody who has a deaf child. And so that was very informative. And we wanted to focus on her communication part, because communication, because this is part of your show, Liz. I mean, because we're on Be Live TV. You mentioned YouTube.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of ways that we can communicate with the public, and she's a specialist in that way, and also being a radio host as well. So, and when we have her back on the show, because she's agreeable to come back in a show where we're going to talk about that. So anybody who wants to know about that particular part of communication, as far as how to reach out to those folks, if you want to need a PR specialist, and how to get the word out for your company, your product, or yourself, if you're yourself are the product, it would be a great time to tune into that show, and I'm sure you'll love it.
Well, that is wonderful. I can't wait to listen to the show. I think that's a fabulous angle. There's so many people that are afraid to talk about very personal items like that, and that is a very personal topic, especially for her to share with you, but in such a great, good way to help others. And I think those people out there that can do that are angels to us all, because everybody's struggling every single day. And I can't wait to listen to that show. So thank you so much. I don't want to take up any more of your time this evening, but I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the time that you have given to us. And the Fuse, Saturday night,
Yes.
7 p.m. Eastern on Radio Omega 100.1.
So everyone,
Tune in.
that's right. Tune in every Saturday night to the Fuse on Radio Omega 100.1. So you can dial into that. You can look at their website, our Facebook page, and all of our and all of our calls are at the Fuse, and you can look forward to that. So thank you, Liz, for having me on your show once again. I can't believe how fast the time flies by. And so thank you very much, and I hope to talk some more in the future. All the best to your ventures up there
Thank you.
in Georgia, and I hope that continues to goes well for you as well. So thank you for having me here.
Yes, go dip those toes in some sunny Florida sand. I just cannot wait to get back down there. Hopefully in July I'll be able to take the babies down there, provided everybody's healthy and everybody's going in a forward direction, right? We're looking forward to some holidays this summertime.
Well, July is not the coolest time to come to Florida, but if you like the beach,
I love it.
if you like the beach and if you like that weather, it is marvelous. So you'll enjoy it. So yes.
Yes, I am a friend of the heat. I love it.
Well, then you'll love it here in July. So, okay, very good.
All right, Todd. Well, enjoy your evening. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you, Liz, for having me. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Wow, that was a great show. I am so glad that everyone was able to tune in. Thank you so much. Ernie, I see you. Thank you for posting a hello. I've seen everybody popping in and out, and I just love when you have a moment to say hi, maybe ask a question for our guests, because I'm welcome to get you involved into the show. So everybody, we are coming back again tomorrow night with a very special guest. I'm going to post that in just a few moments. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern. As always, we are blessed. You are blessed. I love you. Thank you so much. Go and enjoy your days ahead like they are brand new every day, because they are. So let's say thank you one more time to Viter Energy Mints. Go get yours today. Check it out on Amazon. Check it out on goviter.com. If you feel like maybe you need a boost of that B energy, it is full of B6, B12, folate, niacin with 40 milligrams of caffeine in each delightful mint. They are all naturally flavored, no dyes, no soy. I've been really watching the soy lately. And it's surprising how many items in the grocery store are now have soy in it, which it's like, why? But anyway, these are all natural, wonderful. I've been using them for years. They give you that little pep to go, or they give you a whole handful of pep. However, I think they only want you to do 2 at a time. All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening. I will see you again soon. Good night.